And I think it's also the time I came in where people really embraced and wanted to work with kind people. I've been surrounded by women in my life who I've worked with who are very uplifting and supportive.
Oh, I love that.
Is that nice?
That's really nice.
Like, people reward kindness nowadays.
Not in my days. Let's talk about beauty standards for like in Philippines, because that's always something that I'm so curious about. I come from a diverse background. I have a lot of friends that come from different cultures. I'm always like, what is the norm for you? Are there any kind of standards
Eternals Ex Galactus
that are happening in the Philippines?
They just prefer a lighter, fair-skinned person. And so the whole country is obsessed with getting lighter and like hiding from the sun, because like it's also associated with class. Like the more fair you are, well, that's like
I heard that.
You know what I mean? Like the more fair you are, the richer you are.
Yeah.
So then growing up, my mom would always tell me to hide from the sun. You know, I grew up, I was more fair, but I think now I've like developed a deeper, like a more, not as white color, but I love it. I think I'm the most beautiful when I'm tan, you know?
Yeah.
And that's very different from how people think back home. From the very beginning of my career, I've made a very clear stand with like my agents back home. And I said, I will never promote whitening products. I think Filipinos are so beautiful in their own natural skin color. That's always been my thing, and I will still never do it.
I respect that. Yeah. Also, what the hell does it even look like to promote a whitening product?
So growing up, glutathione has, if you take a lot of it, it can make you lighter. It can make you more fair. When I went to the US first and I'd hear glutathione, I'm like, oh, that's a whitening product. And then I'm like, everyone's like, no, it's great for your
Like,
if you take
there's a supplement. There's a lot of benefits to it. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's like all these glutathione pills that you could take, or like whitening soap, or like whitening creams.
Wow.
All whitening.
It's a whole industry. Tell me about accent, because you don't have any accent. Did you ever have one?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Oh my God.
So my first language that I learned is Filipino. It's what we spoke in the house, and the only time I would speak English was with my dad, because he didn't really speak Filipino. And I grew up in this small town where people can speak English, but it's mostly Filipino. I actually remember, so when I went to high school in my small town, and then I moved to the city for college. And it was called Ateneo de Manila, and a lot of the students there very posh, and they mostly speak in English. It was kind of like a culture shock for me, because I was like, their first language is English. And
so it was kind of like the richer kids,
right? Yeah.
So they knew English.
They knew English. They grew up in an English household, even though they're all Filipino. And I felt a little insecure about my English. And so it got better, honestly. Even in
That's
school,
not funny. I'm trying
I was
to
amazing
clear my
in
throat
math.
chakra.
I was amazing in science. My worst subject was English.
It's a hard one.
It's so hard. I mean, I don't know. Even now, I feel so insecure about my English.
Really? Are you honestly, until I kind of did a little research, I thought you grew up in the US. Like, yeah, you had a Filipino mama, but I think you grew up here.
That's what a lot of people think about me. Or like assume I'm like from Hawaii
because your
or California.
accent, that's insane.
Right. So what happened is, from the Philippines, I go to New York.
How old were you?
18 when I first did the modeling thing, but fully moved full-time 21.
Okay.
I had a American accent that I adapted from my dad, but it's so funny because I would say certain words. Like I would talk like this, but then I'd say a word in a Filipino accent, and then it would throw people off.
Wait, give me one though.
Wait, give us all one. Two for the 1.5.
Kids spoke with a Filipino accent
Really?
until probably 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
With Filipino nanny? Or-
Yeah. That
So
raised me
fun.
and them.
Amazing.
So they literally had
Wait.
the accent. It was the funniest thing.
I love
They're like,
that.
what's this accent? I'm like, Filipino. Duh.
Filipino. These things stick with me because I'm like so embarrassed. So there was one time in New York, I was like talking in English, and I was like, oh, the Caucasian. And then they were like, what? I was like, Caucasian. Like, they're like,
Wait, that sounds right to me.
Caucasian? It's apparently Caucasian.
Oh my God.
Did you
I
think it
wouldn't
was
know.
funny, or did you notice what I said? Did you clock it? Yeah, okay, Caucasian. So in the Philippines, we say coffee or Caucasian. So the coffee
It's
is
like
very
amplified.
It's very
Ah.
like round.
You see, I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
I was like, that sounds
You're like,
right.
sounds
You
right.
did it right.
Or another, actually something more very recent, maybe a year ago, that I was like, oh my God, I thought I was over all these things, was I was talking to my friends about my college, and I was like, when I was a sophomore, and they're like, what? I was like, what? They're like laughing. I was like, what did I say? They're like, it's sophomore. I was like, oh, got it. Okay,
That
sophomore.
sounds very chic, though. It's
Sophomore?
like Target. You don't go to Target.
Yeah, I was a sophomore, you know? But it's like, it's not wrong or right. It's just the Filipino way of saying it that I've said it my whole life. So now I've learned. So through the years, people would, because I would talk an English accent, and they would point out the things that I would say differently.
Yeah.
I learned how to say it the
Toxic.
American
Oh.
way. So then now it's
so funny.
completely undetectable unless I say one word that people haven't corrected me with. One
That's
word
nice.
I still really struggle with.
Which
and it's
one?
so funny. So in the Philippines, we say,
Is that the animal?
yeah, yeah,
You see, I don't even dare to say it
yeah,
myself.
yeah, it's okay. I want to hear your version of it. So in
Okay,
the
you go
Philippines,
first.
we call it hippopotamus.
Yeah.
Hippopotamus. But here, I guess it's hippopotamus. Hippopotamus. Can you say it?
I lost my
I like the
hippopotamus. I don't
Filipino
know. What
version.
Hippopotamus.
Hippopotamus sounds better to me than
How do you say the hippopotamus? Back.
I literally why?
It's our process. It's not.
Hippopotamus.
It's a retrograde.
To the hip, to the yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be like hippo.
It's at the same
Better,
time.
yeah. Hippopotamus. Okay, I think I mastered this.
Don't get impressed. Get impressed.
Hippopotamus. Hippopotamus. Yeah, okay. We'll try it again next year, okay? Okay. On to Jasmine Cooks. Jasmine is such a well-known name in the industries. She is one of the most beautiful girls I've ever met, but also one that it's coming from the inside. You know, we actually met a couple of years ago at different events. We went on a trip together. She is very hardworking, very down to earth, and I really like her kind of like quiet confidence. And we got to sit down and talk about our kind of shared experiences of having young mothers and really kind of no father in the picture. Also, a huge moment for Jasmine this year was her opening the Victoria's Secret show, being so pregnant and so beautiful. I think she is the first pregnant woman to ever open the show. So that was a huge moment, and I was just cheering her and cheering on this beautiful image of seeing a woman that's about to give life
That'd be
walking
so
down the
crazy.
Victoria's
Oh my-
Secret show in that golden outfit. Oh my God, that was iconic.
Playback.
We really dug into also her experience of very often being the only Black model in any shoot. When I was sitting with her, she was meant to do this. This was her really calling in life, from the way she carries herself and obviously her beauty, the fact that her mother and her work so closely together, just a lot of really interesting fun facts about someone who doesn't really share a lot on social media, which I feel like now she's gotten better. I was always, when we met for the podcast, I was like encouraging her to continue doing her thing on TikTok because people are loving it. When we last spoke, she just gave birth to her first child. So it's really cool to see where she's at now. So let's get into
But
the
they are.
conversation.
Yeah.
We get kind of used to coming in as a blank canvas, putting on, the persona, and then go with it. Was it difficult for you to kind of find that sense of self away from those things?
I don't think so. I think I'm one of the very few people that grew up and always dreamed of becoming a model. Like a lot of my friends that I work with, they're like, oh, I just sort of like fell into it, or someone approached me on the street, or I won a competition. And for me, as a little girl, that was the only thing I was focused on. Like I had no aspirations to be a doctor, veterinarian, anything like that. And my goal was just become a model. And it was specifically a Victoria's Secret model that I was just so inspired by, like Tyra Banks and Heidi Klum and a lot of the 90s supermodels, that I think when I started modeling, it just felt so true to myself. So it really wasn't hard for me to find, I think, myself through modeling, if that makes sense.
No, completely.
Sorry.
You know, you're right. There are a lot of. I
Uh-uh.
was even talking to Tony,
Memories.
who I love, and she's like, I just walked down the street and this guy scouted me, and then I just got Calvin Klein. I was like, okay,
Wow.
these things are falling out of the sky, which I love. There's a lot of those stories.
Yeah.
But I love that you just always knew that this is what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And you started modeling pretty early now. How old were you?
I think I did my first job when I was 15.
Mhm.
And then my mom was like, you need to finish high school and then I can let you go to New York. So I really started modeling probably 17 years old.
And I think I read somewhere, I know you were close with your mom, and she was very much a protective, person around you when you started in the early modeling days. And I think that's so important because it can be such a tricky industry to be around. Was there like a conversation where she sat you down and was like, okay, this is how?
There wasn't a specific conversation, but I think she always raised me to be a strong individual and have like a really strong backbone. She raised me as a single mom. So I think just seeing her being so strong and such a great supporter was something that really carried on to me. And, I used to see girls backstage at shows like 14, 15 years old by themselves, and they don't know even what's going on. They're being told no every day for the way that they look. And it's just the modeling industry can really like tear you down. And I think if I didn't have my mom there with me, like she would sit backstage at shows with me, travel everywhere with me.
Wow.
And that's something that I really feel was so special and important to me because it was able to keep me sane and keep my head on straight and not get so bummed out if I didn't book the show that I wanted to do or I didn't book the campaign. She was always like, it's okay,
That was funny.
so your time will come. And I really
Love you for that.
instilled that in myself. And I never let myself get down if I don't get an opportunity that I'm really hoping for.
When I started modeling, I left home at like 15, 16. So I had a very different experience than you. And I remember my first trip for modeling was Paris. And you know how they, move around in Paris.
Yeah.
It was such a reality check for me.
It's insane.
Oh my God, I lost every like identity that I thought I had, which at 15, 16, you're still
you don't
figuring
even
it
know.
out, was completely just, smashed in front of my face. And it was very difficult. And, they sell you kind of the idea of you go there and you have the agencies and they take care of you. But it's
You're
a business
alone.
for them. You're alone. You just kind of, I remember I arrived to the agency and they speak French to me. I don't speak French. They give me the map and they're like, go castings.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh,
Like
where
30
do I
places
go?
in one day.
Yeah,
and
it's
you-
like, here's the metro map. I was like, okay.
yeah, it's wild.
I was walking around lost in Paris for 2 days, just crying my eyes out. And then I was like, okay, it's time to pull it together.
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
It's the presence of someone that you trust and know that they have your best interest, is, I don't think people understand. Like models build different.